Water damage, if you pour water over limestone, soft stone, it makes rivulets that get deeper and deeper and deeper with more water. Wind damage kind of erodes the stone in a different way, like if you were literally putting a leaf blower on and then it kind of hollows things out, and so you can see that it becomes more porous. So it's quite evident if you stand there, and I stood there a lot, that you can see flooding damage around the Sphinx. The other thing is that the water table's coming back up right at the foot of the Sphinx, and they were saying they found the Hall of Records and all of that, and they had little tractors, but the point is that the water started percolating back up at the foot of the Sphinx, which really speaks to the idea that it could have been tropical, and I've made some animations in the Pyramid Code that show what it might have looked like before when the casing stones were still on the pyramids. But absolutely, this has been demonstrated, it's been shown scientifically, this is a fact, that there's flood damage around the Sphinx. There are many, 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 many underwater places, even the Bimini Road. And so those, they want to say that they're natural, but if you really examine it, you can see that it has to be man-made because of the scattering of stones that are around it. And I went down underwater and looked for myself. Java, where the river systems that used to exist there are exactly what Plato was talking about. And the size of the high plateau and the wrapping of the mountains around, and the elephants and the coconuts and the exotic wood and the precious metals and precious jewels all exist in Java underwater. There's a whole structure at Yanaguni, at the southern point of Okinawa, which is the south part of Japan, which is actually the north part of Taiwan. And from the north of Taiwan, you can see Okinawa. And so that's what I was speaking to before about all those could have been connected. And there is a huge development there. There's staircases and archways and pyramid-like structure, and it goes on and on. I mean, you can't possibly see it all in one dive, but there's absolutely no possible way that it's natural. So that would be a flooded underwater city. Then we go to someplace like Malta, which again is in the middle of the Mediterranean, and all of these land masses would have been different at a certain time, and they have what they call the wagon cart roads. And they go along, and the road is going where it's going, and then there's a cliff, and it ends. Well, that means that the road doesn't just end at the cliff. The road was going somewhere, and the earth changed. I mean, that's obvious. And in India, and the big tsunami back several years, and the water receded before the flood came, and they saw off the coast of India an entire city down there. And you could see it with the naked eye until the water came. Dr. Sam, and this is part of the New Atlantis, he started out before he discovered the Bosnian pyramid doing research on pyramids all over the world. And I have footage of him claiming how many pyramids there are in the world. Like there's 5 close to the airport in Mauritius, they're all the Canary Islands, they're all over. Many of them are covered in soil and trees, okay? Because they're before the flood, or in a situation where there wasn't a climate change that would have turned it into desert, and then all that would have gone away. How many pyramids do you think, I want everybody to think about this, are in the world?
No idea. Indeed. Thousands maybe.
80,000. 80. I'd like to point the attention to the Bosnian Pyramid Project and the work of Dr. Sam Osmanagic. And I was able to speak at one of his conferences, the Hidden Mysteries Conference in 2012. And this pyramid was not well known for a while because it got trees growing on it, which speaks to the idea that it would have been before the flood, and the last flood in the Younger Dryas, and that the silt would have covered the pyramid, And then when the water receded, there was enough soil to then grow trees. And trees were all different heights, were poured, so they're like a concrete cement special that's actually stronger than anything we've got now. But between the third and fourth course of these stones, a leaf blew in, and they actually did a carbon-14 date on it, and I saw the dating certificate for the age of the pyramid, and it would have been necessarily during the construction, was 38,000 years ago. Okay? So this is real science. Yes, because they decommissioned them before the last flood. Like they buried Göbekli Tepe near the Syrian border in Turkey before the flood. Both of them. Which means the structures are much older. They try to say that Göbekli Tepe is 13,000 years old, much older than that. It was a ceremonial site, it wasn't a dwelling. There was something very, very strategic about it. But someone must have known the flood was coming or they wouldn't have decommissioned this. So a lot of the work in the tunnel system of the Bosnian pyramids is to support the ceiling so when they take the rubble out, it doesn't collapse. And there is energy down there. And so when we look at these different star maps, it's almost like the knowledge from the ancients that had been destroyed, that looks like they went back to caveman days, was basically really intelligent people who were putting things back together after a really big disaster. So if everything crashed right now, and we went back to primitive times and went to live in caves because we needed to make a fire and keep hot and warm, it doesn't mean we didn't have cell phones 2 days before. We just lost all the stuff because of the disaster. And so then we make up and project onto them that they were just cavemen, dragging women around by their hair and that sort of thing. So yes, there's evidence of disasters, and it takes a while to piece this glorious puzzle together.